Okay, we are tuned up again. Hi, Paul Zagorski here. You know what? One should not be afraid of these things. If you're a beginner guitar player, you're saying, well, what in the world is this thing? Well, this could be the gateway to you playing lots of different chords, lots of different songs that you just don't have the ability to play by simplifying and changing the key of what you're playing in. So coming up, let's talk about the capo and a great song that will help a beginner guitar player understand the value of this thing. So coming up. Hey everyone, so what in the world is this little gizmo? This gizmo here's a capo. And why is it important, especially for any guitar players, but why is it especially important for a beginner? Well, if you have a song, and actually I'm going to give you an example of a great song that we're going to play here today, 5 years time, Noah and the Whale, 5 years time, but it requires the F chord. The F chord is a bar chord, and for many, many beginners, that is just beyond the pale. It's just, I just can't do it. I'm not experienced enough. And actually, you know what? It even has a G chord. And sometimes that G chord is also a difficult chord, you know, especially transitioning and stuff like that. So, but we have practiced the A, D, and E chord. So let's use this to play the C chord, the F chord, and the G chord, but using A, D, and E with this coming up. Hey everyone, Paul Zagorski here, PZ Guitar, your virtual practice partner. So the song today is going to be 5 years time, and it was Noah and the Whale. Mid to late 2000s, maybe 2006, 2007, plus or minus. Great little song, and it's just what makes it nice for beginners is just you could play it using a super simple strumming pattern. But the problem is that in order to play it at least the way it was written, I got to use the C chord, the F chord, and the G chord. I have to play, the C chord. The F chord is a bar chord. And typically, you would play either the G chord this way, or you would play the G chord this way, because you just came from the F bar chord, and then you got to go back to the F bar chord. That transition using those bar chords could be just beyond the reach of a beginner. So we use a capo. And a capo is essentially a movable nut. So right now, the string vibrates from here to here, and what I can do is I can shorten the string by 1 fret, 2 fret. In this case, I'm going to use 3 frets. So to do what we're doing here today is I'm going to put my capo behind the 3rd fret. So now this is the nut, so to speak. This is the nut. And if I now make an A-shaped major chord relative to the capo, well, you know what? That is a C chord. The notes that I'm physically playing comprise the C chord. And I'm making believe that I'm actually using the A shape, but I'm playing a C chord. And if I go use now the D chord shape, that is actually an F chord. That is an F. And if I were to now use the E-shaped major chord relative to the capo, that's a G chord. A, D, and E, C, F, and G. Wow, this is amazing. This works. I mean, I need a 1-4-5 progression, but I can't play the C chord. I can't play the F. But I can play an A, D, and E because we've actually been practicing that in this series here. So let's play A, D, E, D. And let's use a simplified strumming here to get going here. So our simplified strumming is going to be just down strums. 2 down strums for A, 2 down strums for D, 2 for E, and 2 for D. Rinse and repeat. It's going to sound like this. that sequence, A, D, E, D, on the song, and that's all it is, the entire song, 4, 8, 16, 20, 52 times. If you play this sequence 52 times, that's the length of the song. This is a marathon for your hands and for your fingers and for your guitar stamina. This is just a stamina thing, and it's just a. So that's the simplified strumming. The real strumming, or the preferred strumming, it's a little more complicated. So I'm going to play it like this. It's going to be, I'm starting on A, up, down, up, change, up, down, up, change, up, down, up, change, up, down, up. Right to A. So that's what it's supposed to be. That's a little advanced because you're starting on an up strum, and that's something that is not the most natural thing to do, but we're going to practice it anyway. We're going to do it nice and slow. Okay? This is like take 3 because I keep doing this too quickly. So I'm going to do this nice and slow for everybody. You ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stick around for some tips and the thank you and stuff. Everybody, thanks for sticking around, practicing. This was an interesting, in a way, a kind of a difficult lesson for me to give here, because it was such, for a beginner, I mean, if you want to use the simplified strumming pattern, it's an awesome beginner song, you know, because I can play the F chord and I can play the G chord and I can play a C chord, but I use the very ultra familiar A, D, and E chords because this is changing the tuning of what I'm playing. That's what this does. I'm actually going to put on the screen a little capo chart, so that way, you know, when you play a C chord, but you do it on the 3rd fret, what is that? What is that? You know, if I play a D chord on the 3rd fret, what is that? And so on. And I'll do that all the way from the 1st up to the 12th fret. So that'll be on the screen. This is a capo chart. I would like you to take a screenshot of this and put it into your PZ guitar library. And this is your gateway to understanding how you could use a capo to help play the chords that you would not normally be able to use, or to change the tunings of your guitar. So for example, we are very familiar with the chords A, D, and E. And if you take a look at the top, if you play A, that's in yellow, the D is kind of in a burnt orange, and E is a little darker of an orange. If you can play the chords A, D, and E,
But if you put a capo on fret number 3, as in our case, you are in reality playing the chord C, the chord F, and the chord G. Take a look at this. As you can see, when you are playing the chords A, D, and E, but if a capo is on the 3rd fret, you are in reality playing a C, an F, and a G. Similarly, if you play the same chord shapes A, D, and E, but if your capo's on the 5th fret, you're playing in reality a D, a G, and an A. This is why having a capo and understanding how to use it can open up your playing abilities greatly.
Again, when it comes to this particular song here, it doesn't matter whether it's down, up, down, or up, down, up. The hand doesn't move. The hand doesn't stop. It just depends on when you hit the strings and when you miss the strings. And you know, the less you think about it, the better. You know, the more you can just do, the better it is. If you have any questions, you know, leave a comment. Comments are great things. If you have a question, you're probably not the only one that has those questions. So if I can answer it, I will. If not, one of the many smart people that watches these things, they'll answer as well. They'll make suggestions. If there's something that you want to learn specifically, let me know. I will endeavor to help out and make a lesson. I've done that in the past. So again, you know, thanks for sticking around. Subscribe, hit those buttons, leave a comment. There's more lessons to come. And as far as the beginner series is concerned, this is a peripheral to the beginner series that I have, but there's going to be monochords. We're going to do some more monochords, and we'll really hammer down all of those open chords, all of those, quote, cowboy chords. And with that, you'll be able to play tens of thousands of songs. We'll also do a strumming series, different strumming patterns. And so this is still a lot to come. So hit the bell so that way you get notified. And I will see you soon. Hey everyone. Up here is going to be a video that you might want to play next. Or down here is going to be a playlist that would be a good thing to do to get more practice along the same subject lines. So until then, play this one or play this one. It's up to you. Whatever you want.